This is a CBC podcast.
Tens of thousands of ballots were cast today, and no, don't worry, you didn't miss the provincial election. That's still tomorrow. Today, the voters were kids. They're part of Student Vote, a nonpartisan program that brings the democratic process into the classroom. More than 750 schools have signed up, including Campus View Elementary in Gordon Head. Philip Hurst is a grade 4-5 teacher there, and he joins us now here in our Victoria studio. Hello, Philip.
Hello, Joanne, and thank you very much for inviting us to your show today.
Well, it's kind of exciting having you here. Now, we're also joined by two of Philip's students, Nina Bombach. Hello, Nina.
Hello.
And Somaya Saeed.
Hi.
Hi. So, Philip, I'll start with you, and then we'll get to the girls. Why did you want your class to be involved in Student Vote?
That's a good question. Thank you, Joanne. I really wanted to create an authentic opportunity for students to give them the chance to feel what it's like to vote and also raise their awareness of voting, which is so important in our democracy.
Yeah. Now, Somaya, this wasn't just about today's vote. I mean, your class has been learning a lot about voting over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
What have you learned? What did you do to sort of study voting?
Well, we learned a lot about how the government works and the different, like the MLA and all that stuff. And,
Do you have anybody come into the classroom, special speakers?
yes, we had Roy Cullen and, what was his name?
Yeah, Roy Cullen is
Roy
a retired MP.
Right, and he's written a
And-
number of books on
Yes.
this, so he'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
And who else did you have? Do you remember, Nina, anybody else that came into the classroom to talk about this?
I forget her name.
We also invited in Joanne Scott, who's the district electoral officer for Oak Bay and Gordon Head.
Yeah, very important people to get information from. Now, Nina, what were some of the things that surprised you about voting?
It surprised me that it took a lot of people to organize it and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of votes to count, isn't it? What about you, Somaya? What surprised you about voting? Something you maybe hadn't thought about?
How complex it was and how many different steps there were to take. And, yeah.
Yeah, about figuring out that you really were who you said you were? That people might try and get around being honest? Did that surprise you too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Philip, what were some of the themes that students picked up on as you went through this?
Yeah, that's a good question. We talked a lot, as much as we could, about sort of energy, renewable and non-renewable resources, and some local issues around deer and what we're going to do with the deer in Oak Bay and Gordon Head. And we had lots of lively discussions around both those subjects.
Now, what sort of things did you have to consider before you voted? So, Somaya, what did you have to think about before you cast your vote?
Well, I had to think about if, I voted for Jessica Van Der Veen, but I had to think about kind of what she was planning to do with the community and stuff. And, yeah, that's one of the things that I really had to think about.
And Nina, what did you think about?
Well, I thought about what they're gonna do with the government too, and how they're gonna do it. And I voted for Andrew Weaver.
And you voted for Andrew Weaver. That could be a prescient sort of a division in your riding, because Gordon Head is a riding that everyone is watching quite closely. Philip, were the students aware of that, do you think?
Yeah, we looked very closely at all four candidates that were running at this time and trying to give a balanced view of what they were thinking and what they were planning to carry out. And that allowed the students to some extent to balance their judgment.
Now, did you count? Have you counted the ballots already?
Yes, we have, and we would love to tell you the results, but unfortunately I'm sworn to secrecy.
Oh, no, so you can't tell me who won. No. But do the students know?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you to tell me who won, but I want to know, were you excited, disappointed? How did it feel that maybe or maybe not your vote, that the person you voted for didn't win? How did that feel? Or how did it feel for other students, since we kind of know how you guys voted? Were people in your class upset or excited? How were they?
Most of the class was really excited.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm really happy too.
Okay. Well, that might tell us something about your vote. Now, in the last election, you probably talked about this in class, only about half of the people who were eligible to vote did vote. Nina, what do you think of that people who could vote didn't vote?
Well, I say like every vote counts, so they should have voted.
Yeah, what do you think, Sumaya?
I think that it's kind of surprising that they didn't vote because the vote kind of determines a part of their future and what's going to happen. So,
Yeah. Why do you think they, with all of that riding on it, that they sort of didn't vote? Do you think that people sort of take it for granted, Nina?
I think they definitely do.
You do,
'Cause
Sumaya?
in
Why?
Kenya,
Yeah.
when my dad's family goes to vote, sometimes they go vote and lock themselves in their house because something might happen and it might not go very well.
Right. So voting in Kenya was maybe not as easy as it is here.
Yeah.
So did your dad tell you how important it was to vote?
Mm-hmm. It's very important. And especially because it's safe to vote.
That's
Here.
right. Yeah, that's right. You don't have to worry about someone
Yep.
coming after you. Philip, anything else like that came up in the class that, hearing about different experiences with voting?
No, I just believe that, the earlier we start, the younger we start, and develop the awareness of students, and they're more likely to go ahead into adulthood and take full advantage of their democratic rights.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to being able to vote for real, Nina?
Definitely.
Yeah? Yeah. Can you see yourself maybe running for office someday? No.
Not really.
But you'll vote.
Yeah.
What about you, Sumaya? Are you looking forward to voting?
Yes. I could never run for office. Too much pressure.
Well, maybe you guys will work for the electoral office now that you know so much about voting.
That'd be fun.
That would be
Yeah.
fun, eh? Yeah. Well, I appreciate the two of you coming in with such fresh eyes. I do. I'm like you, Philip. I think voting at a young age certainly makes you appreciate the process. And I think I see that you're wearing stickers that say I voted. And that's something to be proud of. Thank you very much for coming in. And tomorrow, can we find out how your class voted? After the
I'll
election?
get back to you
on
on that.
Wednesday, maybe? Because I'd love to know. Thank you so much. Great to meet you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Looking for more CBC podcasts? Go to cbc.ca/podcasting.